Well, good afternoon. I'm the Noble Q. This is Stream of World of Warplanes on YouTube. And hello, Vorno, and good evening. I can't say your first name, but I think the second name is Krashov. Can we try and keep the comments in English, please? But I realise you're saying good evening, everybody there. So, waving at you all across the internet. And what are we going to do today? Well, it's in the background. You can see it just there. Just there. It's the Stuka, the D-5 Stuka that we've been playing for. And what we're going to do, we're going to take it in for a few flights. We're going to go through some of the statistics briefly, and we're going to tell you what's what about this aircraft. Okay, so we'll move OBS off to the side. Just move it slightly so I can actually see what's going on here. Excellent. Bring that up. Now, this aircraft is specialised. I have been naughty. I have used tokens to specialise it so we can see exactly what it can do when it's fully kitted out. And what we're going to do first is we're going to go into a training flight. And for those of you who don't know, this may be instructive. We're going to select off a training flight. We're going to create a room, and I know exactly the one that I want to create. So it's on the peripheral mission map, and it's Silence of Ice. Create the room, and I see it's deselected that, so we're going to select it again. Silence of Ice, that's the one I want because it's got mining plants. We're going to stick me into one team. Now, we don't want any opposition in this team because I want to show you something. And basically, it's very important that you know this about this aircraft. So we're going to add a bot. Add a tier 5 bot. We want a ground attacker, so aircraft type GAA. HS-12B, that'll do fine. Put that in the other team. Close it, and let's go battle. Now, what's this aircraft all about? Well, people have been hoping that this is a dive bomber. Well, spoilers immediately. This is no dive bomber. It does not have the altitude performance for it, and even worse, even if it were a dive bomber, the D-5 Stuka does not have a siren, and therefore there is no siren in this game. So those of you who've been hoping to be able to dive from way on high and produce a screaming sound in the game, I'm afraid you're not going to be able to do it. So that's your first disappointment, potentially. I'm just getting my right-handed keyboard in place. Sorry about that extraneous noise that you just heard. And we're going to head to the mining plant. Now, many of you who watch my Twitch streams will know that I have a very specific way, if I can, of approaching the mining plant. Spoilers again, I'm not going to be approaching this mining plant that way here. I don't care. So this aircraft has one bomb, and you're possibly thinking, well, what on earth can you do with one bomb? Watch. That said, those of you used to the Junkers 87G will be disappointed with these guns. They are not good guns for knocking down ground targets. As you can see, I'm shooting at chimneys here and it's taking a while. I'm just going to soften that up, and then I'm going to align myself correctly. Who knew you could do that at tier 5 with a single bomb? But now here's the problem. We can't do anything else. The guns are not strong enough. So you are dependent on the reload of the bomb. And very quickly, you're going to appreciate that it's going to depend on whether you can improve the reload time of this bomb. Now, at base, the reload time is 60 seconds. And I'm going to show you how to improve that quite considerably. That's the 50-point target. That's gone. And you might be thinking here, we'll just beat up a gun emplacement and you'll be able to take this plant. Well, no. Even though I've put a gun sight on this and I've selected the bonus characteristic of setting things on fire, it's not going to happen. Hello Patton, how are you? Good to see you. It's not a duty, I hope. I hope it's a pleasure, but if it is a duty, then thank you for observing it. You can see these guns. They're 20mm cannons, by the way. They just aren't cutting it. We've got our bomb back. Now, I'm not going to be greedy and go for the big target again. I'm going to try and guarantee that I take this sector by taking out that target. And there you go. Now, of course, this is a training flight. I've got no opposition at this plant because it's on my side of the map. I've only put one aircraft into the game. In a real-life situation, you are going to need support, and you probably won't have to take out the entirety of a mining plant yourself. But that was just to demonstrate that this bomb can take out a power plant by itself at a mining plant. And that's pretty unique. That's not pretty unique, that is unique at Tier 5. In fact, actually, the power of this bomb, and you'll see the stats on it shortly, it's a Tier 8 bomb. What else has the aircraft got going for it? Not much. And those of you who've just heard me say that these are 20mm cannons might be thinking, well, perhaps you can set them up so that you can fight other aircraft. Good thought. What you might be able to do at a contested sector is shoot down enemy ground attackers. And this air ground attacker is the most manoeuvrable of the Tier 5 ground attackers, so you have got a chance of doing that. However, the auto-aim angle is awful, which means you will have to shoot very accurately in order to hit your target and take it down. And the DPS is only 180 at base, so it will take you a while to knock down a ground attacker. So I'm undecided as to what's the best thing to do with the guns. But I do know what's the best thing to do with the bomb, and I'll show you that in a moment. Now, I would have expected, probably in the distance somewhere, that the enemy ground attacker will show up. Can't see any damage here. Oh, there he is. We're going to leave him be. That's not the point of this exercise. So here we are, completely different approach here. Going for this target. Gone. And basically, ladies and gentlemen, that is all you need to know about this plane. Let's see if I can... that's been damaged, so I can take that down. That one hasn't been damaged so much. Now you can imagine that if you're playing this stock and you have to wait a minute for a reload, this is going to get very tedious. Well, you can improve the reload, but you've got to do a lot of work to get into that position. I'm going to slow down here because I think I'm just going to get the bomb in time. Here we go. I'll take out this 50-point target. You can probably guess what's coming now. I'm going to beat up bits of other target and wait for the bomb to reload. And of course, in a real live battle, you'd never get this opportunity more than once in 10 games. Something would come and pounce on you and stop you. So basically, you must act as a support aircraft and help your team by taking out the big object and hope that they take out lesser objects. And look at that, these guns, they're just no good against armoured targets at all. So we need 30 points, that would be an ideal target, so I'll just continue by. I've got my bomb back, and when we come back, we'll drop the bomb. Just there. We're going to ignore the plant. We could go for it, but occasionally if you misplace the bomb you won't take out that target. This is a safe thing to do. That will get me 30 points. And we're all done. So, now if I am going to play a few conquest battles a bit later, after I've shown you some statistics. Clearly this bomb has the power to take out any special object at any sector. However, I've discovered you need to be careful with the one at military bases. If you misplace the bomb, you will leave a little bit of it behind, because those buildings are arranged so that they mutually shield each other, and particularly the tents, in which case you may have to go back and finish it off with the guns, and that can be a bit tedious. So now we're going to see that this aircraft doesn't like being shot. The other thing is, it's very slow. So let's see if we can actually contest. And as you can see, despite these being 20mm cannons, they're actually not that good at knocking down aircraft.
You're on your own now, pilot. Act according to the situation. Almost all enemy aircraft are destroyed.
But on the other side of that coin, you would not have been able to do that with the Stuka 87G, because those guns have got a 0 auto-aim angle. The game doesn't help you, and they are appallingly slow shells, and it is impossible virtually to hit another aircraft except by pure luck. So there you go. That's the training flight demonstrated. I don't feel any need to go into the centre. We'll only find 6 busy ADAs all wanting to shoot me down, and there's no value in showing you that, so we'll just wait for the end of the battle, and then we're going to look at some statistics. And just a warning, if you go into a training flight, you may want to remove your consumables, because they will cost you money. And also, if you get shot down, that will cost you money as well, and you're not earning anything in a training flight. However, it's an excellent way to demonstrate the capabilities of an aircraft or test out a theory or a different setup, although you can use the test flight for different setups. Okay, game should be over shortly. We're just taking some scenery. Let's have a look at this. It gives me an opportunity to talk about the camouflage. This is a special camouflage for the plane. It's not too unpleasant, is it? It's almost like Celtic, not work quite, but there you go. Does it confer any special benefits over and above normal camouflage? No, sorry, it doesn't. The nose art and the emblem are entirely standard. That's very Viking, actually. There you go. So, yes, it's a nice camouflage. However, there are better emblems you could put on. For instance, the 7th birthday emblem for World of Warplanes gives you 5% crew experience, 5% aircraft experience, whereas this only gives you 2% crew experience, which is standard. So there you go. That's the training flight. And the big takeaway from that is, wow, that bomb can really do some serious damage. But beware, on other special objects, you need to just be a little bit careful where you place it to make sure that you get the destruction done and the buildings don't protect one another. So we'll return to hangar. We're now going to bring up some statistics very quickly. I'm not going to dwell on these too long, because actually there's not much of a story here, but we will just give them the once over. So it's just that. Let's move me. Okay, so what we have here is a spreadsheet showing all of the base characteristics of the Stuka, and then here we've got the other 4 ground attackers. And initially the rating on the guns is 11, so it's way below the big tank buster guns on the Stuka, and it's one big tank buster gun on the HS-129B. And even the guns on the IL-2 are much better as well, and then the IL mod still better as well. So these guns, bit of a quandary what to do with them. Should you set them up so that you can kill ground attackers? Possibly. Should you set them up for a nice long burst length? Possibly. However, the fact of the matter is, these guns are not strong for attacking ground targets, and you will probably more likely than not be taking out ADAs or possibly other ground attackers with them. Defensive armament is the same as the Junkers 87G. I'm sorry there's a lot of desync. I don't know if you're the only one, Grandad. There's not much I can do about it for the moment. I've swapped to a new version of OBS because I've been having problems with OBS. So let me know if it continues bad for everybody. The rear gun is the same as the Junk 87G, so fairly weak. It might deter an ADA or two. Here we go, the £1,000 bomb, 8,000 cumulative damage. That's the same as the tier 8 Corsair, if I remember correctly. So it's a huge bomb for tier 5, and I'll show you how to improve that quite markedly. Survivability, basically, a determined attacker is going to shoot you down whether you like it or not, even though it's a little bit of a tank. You could possibly improve this a bit by going for a tank build, but that will slow you down, and I don't think that's a good idea. It's already a slow aircraft. Only whilst I was in battle. That's interesting. Okay, Grandad. Well, these are important things that I'm saying here as well. Manoeuvrability. Here is a key takeaway. I have built the aircraft for speed, as you'll see in a minute, so I lose a bit of this, but it is actually more manoeuvrable than all of the other ground attackers, and that may very well lead you down the path of improving these guns so that you can actually fight ground attackers, a little bit like you might do with German ground attackers. And then the altitude performance. There is no altitude performance. This is not, I stress it again, not a dive bomber. Now, curiously, the airframe weight is really high compared to the G version, and that gives this the worst power to weight ratios of any of the ground attackers here, which so don't expect it to accelerate, but then you probably won't anyway. No point in really looking at the worst in class figures. You're not learning very much. So what that tells you, it's all about the bomb. Well, I have been saying that. Let's go and have a quick look at the build that I've put on it for the moment. Take that off. We'll leave the training flight. And let's go and look at the service build. Okay, right, so if this is all about the bomb, immediately I'm going to suggest to you that you need to do three things. And bear in mind, my aircraft is specialised. If your aircraft is not specialised, you will be missing these slots. Just these. The equipment slots will all be available, but these two slots will not be available when you first get the aircraft, which is a bit of a shame because this is a useful slot. But bear that in mind, that's what you'll be missing. So if you want to improve the damage of the bomb, you need to put on this piece of equipment. Strengthened hardpoint. Sorry, this is not for damage. Damage we'll come on to. The other key indicator of the bomb is the reload, which is 60 seconds. You need to get that down as much as possible. So what I've done is I've put on ultimate level strengthened hardpoints, and I've fully calibrated it. And if you look at the bonus characteristics, I've also made sure I've picked off the 10% reload speed. What have I done to the reload speed? Well, according to the game, I've brought it down to 43 seconds by reducing it by 31%. Well, actually, if you take 31% off 60, that's actually below 42 seconds. Go figure. Anyway, it's come down by a lot, and that makes it better. I'm not going to say it necessarily makes it competitive, but it's certainly a lot better than 60. Now, to improve the damage output, improve fragmentation. That will improve your damage output, increase damage caused by bombs and rockets. We'll see in a moment over here what it does. Also, try and get a pilot into this aircraft who has the demolition expert skill. That's that one highlighted in green there. And that also increases the damage output of the bombs. It also increases the blast radius. So let's go and see the effects. Damage inflicted by bombs is up by 20%, and if we hover over that, we can see that the demolition expert skill has contributed 10%, and improved fragmentation, that consumable I just showed you, has also contributed 10%. Now, again, because of the funny way that this is calculated, that ought to have taken this up from 8,000 to 9,600. It's showing as 9,680. Go figure again. The point is that you've put at least 20% onto the damage of this bomb and made it really, really impressive. I just want to show you bombs and rockets. That figure was 10 at base, it's now 17, so that's a huge improvement. Blast radius also up by 10%, which is useful. That takes it up from 360 odd feet from 328. That is the key thing that you need to do with this aircraft. I would choose a gun sight on the cockpit slot, and not because I particularly want to improve the accuracy of the guns, although if you are going to set it out to dogfight ground attackers, maybe that is a good idea. But what I've done is I've picked off the 10% chance of causing a fire. However, as you saw in that training battle, you don't always get those fires, even though I've increased the chance of them happening. And there is a negative effect here. The pilot's resistance to injury has gone down. The aircraft is slow, so I've put on a polished skin rather than build it like a tank. If you want to build it like a tank, you can, but you will slow the aircraft down even more. On big maps, that means you're going to struggle to get around. And the forward-firing weapon, I'm undecided about what's best here. I've actually got arguments for using all of these. The reinforced bulk carriers gives me 15% or thereabouts extra burst length, so about 11.5 seconds. The burst length is 10 nominally, as you'll see in a moment. Being able to fire earlier, that's not a bad idea. Long gun barrels at ultimate level will take the range up to about 2,500, 2,550 feet. However, if you want to dogfight against other GAAs, you may very well decide to put on a gas-operated action and get that DPS up. The DPS is not great, but more DPS will certainly help. As far as consumables are concerned, 2-person crew, so I always mount a first aid dressing package. As it happens, the fire resistance and the is very good. It's 70, so I feel very comfortable doing that. Emergency control system, that's mainly if the tail gets shot off and I'm close to the ground. I want to be able to repair that immediately rather than dive straight into the ground. Pardon me. Engine cooling for 10 seconds of extra boost. Well, since it's a problem getting around the map, you will want to do this. Then once you've got these 2 slots available, which will only be available when the aircraft is specialised, I'm going to put in universal ammunition for the turret gun and critically improve fragmentation for the bombs, as I've already discussed. Pilot skills. Well, this is a crew trainer in theory, but if we just pretend that we're going to train a pilot for this specifically, the order I would go, and this is close but not quite what I would go for, demolition expert first and foremost. Second, engine guru 1, or aerodynamics expert, provided you have mounted the polished skin. Engine guru 3 as your 4th skill rather, and then probably cruise flight as your 5th skill, and that's a long way up the tree, so I don't think I need to go any further. Basically, you can see that I would concentrate on trying to improve the speed. Now, as this pilot has actually come from another aircraft, the BF-110B Heavy Fighter, it so happens I've actually got Marksman 1. Okay, that's useful, but for a noob pilot, a completely new pilot, demolition expert, engine guru 1, aerodynamics expert, which these 2 you may swap, engine guru 3 if you can, pick off something on the way like Marksman 1 and then reassign the points and get engine guru 3 and then cruise flight. That's what I would suggest. You may have different ideas. Feel free to leave comments, tell me. Okay, so given how I've built the aircraft, and bear in mind I'm still undecided what to do with the guns, what effect does that have? So we're going to go back to the spreadsheet, but we'll look at something slightly different this time. Okay, so what we have here, these are the base figures for the Stuka. So you've seen these all already. There's the 10 seconds overheat time that I mentioned previously. What have we been able to do? Well, we've improved the guns slightly. 12 points as opposed to 11. That's because the DPS has gone up. That's from the effect of some of the equipment choices and bonus characteristics, but not by much. It's gone up from 90 to 94.5. I don't think that needs to really detain us. And as I mentioned, we've also managed to increase the burst length by 15%, so 11.57 seconds. Depends on whether you want to do that. Maybe you want to go for gas-operated action. That will change this figure for the better, but this one will go back down to 10 or even sink a little. Ignore those figures there. That's just because I haven't filled those in. In fact, let's fill them in now. There's no weakening of the turret. Ordnance, here's where the big effect is, and I've just simply plugged in 9,680. It's actually a 21% increase if you believe the 9,680 figure in the UI. If you believe the 20% figure as shown in green below it, then this is 9,600. It's huge. Resupply time, it says 43 in the UI. If you take the figure of 31% that it's claiming it has been reduced by, that's actually 41, less than 41.5 seconds. Whatever, it's a lot quicker. And then the damage radius has gone up. No effect on survivability. Tiny effect on airspeed. I say tiny, actually 5% is not that insignificant. So it is a little bit quicker to get around the map. You'll still be using a lot of boost. And then there's a small effect on the maneuverability. Because we're using a polished skin, we've lost a little bit of turn time, but you've still got enough in hand probably to outmaneuver other GAAs. And then there's a tiny improvement for some reason on the climb rate that I can't work out. So that's the effects of my build. And with that, I think what we want to do is go and fight in some real battles and see how it performs. And I'll tell you right now, basically, if your team works properly and supports you, you can work in a good support role. And if your team is focused on, say, missions to acquire this aircraft, that is not winning, ooh, 2 of me, yuck, then you won't do well. It's as simple as that. Let's go. Okay, so what have we got? Glenn, hello to you. The answer to your question is no. There is no dive bombing benefit from this aircraft. In fact, the altitude performance is so poor, I wouldn't even bother. And at a plant, I wouldn't want to go in at altitude anyway, because the AA will just simply rip you to shreds. Good afternoon, punk rock. Hope your snakes are fine. Chilly Billy? Yes, not a bad call that. The camouflage, there's no particular reason to retain the camouflage that you get with the aircraft. It confers you no better benefits. And you might very well benefit from a plain camouflage, which gives you better tolerance to damage from AA guns and the like. So, good call, Chilly Billy. I would agree with that. Cedric, I played this aircraft a few times. I shall put it like this. It's a one-trick pony, but it's a big trick. Unfortunately, this is not a good map for it. Garrisons and airfields. So we're not going to see anything particularly exciting on this, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. So what we will do is we'll try and take out some tents with these guns, but this is the weakness. You would really prefer to have the Junkers Ju-87 guns here in this particular scenario. Actually, we'll take out this gun first, otherwise it will pepper me. What I would like is if they brought out a polished skin for this. And completely unsurprisingly, take out that target. It's not an issue. Now, what is an issue is you haven't got guns to do effective work at the airfield, so I'm not going to go to the airfield, because I'll just basically be offering myself up to be shot down without doing a great deal. And we're not going to boost for the centre either, because we want the bomb to reload. But we will have that bomb by the time we get to the centre. Bit of a shame. Tier 6 battle. But not very good sectors. So a question might arise, will this plane still take out a power plant at a mining plant in a tier 6 battle? And the answer is yes. And Q syndrome strikes. As I arrive at a sector, it gets captured. So we will try and put these 20mm to good effect. Bear in mind, you've only got a 1 degree auto-aim angle, so you must aim accurately. Just wait. Now, bit luck I'll be allowed to finish him off whilst he's still in the sector. Okay. So I'm beginning to think that it would be a good idea to actually set these guns up to a dogfight. So go with gas-operated action. Now, unfortunately, although I've made it in here and shot that aircraft down, very few of my team are here. So this is not going to go well. And that's the scenario which I just warned you about. If your team supports you, you can make a significant contribution. If your team is nowhere to be seen where you want to be, or where you think you should be, you're basically just a hit point pool for the enemy team. Got a bug. Fortunately, pressing enter has got rid of it. Should have the bomb by the time I reach this sector, and in fact I rather think we may have it by the time I get there. I would assume my team would then swing towards the centre again. That may be an unwarranted assumption. Now, I'm going to be straightforward here. I don't think this aircraft is particularly strong, but it is free, and I actually quite enjoy playing it. I'm sure I'll get bored of the big bomb, and on this map it's actually not that much fun to play. I'm sure I will get bored of the big bomb, but at the moment I am enjoying the big bomb. And I actually prefer this aircraft to the standard Junkers, even though I have a sneaking feeling that the standard Junkers 87G is a more effective ground attacker, because those guns will keep you destroying targets, whereas once you've dropped your bomb, basically you're hanging around until you can get another bomb. It's a good job they didn't put the tank buster guns on this aircraft. That would be a different scenario. That would then be quite a powerful plane. Okay, so that is actually still up, but I want to shoot the tents if I can. See, that took a while, and the problem is you have to keep flying straight, which sets you up as a target. Wiggle about a bit, but now I must straighten up to get the bomb in place. Maybe I'll get a bomb trap if they're close enough. I'll probably not. Well, one of them disappeared, so I suspect I may have got a bomb trap there. Right, so what we're going to do, we're just going to dump the aircraft and see what our options are. And our options are to go here and take out this sector. I'm pretty sure I actually I'm pretty sure that one of the pursuing aircraft was destroyed immediately I dropped my bomb, but whether it was destroyed by the bomb or by one of my teammates shooting it down, I don't know. Randmate, yes, another stream, and we're just doing, I don't know, an hour's worth of YouTube stream just to get something on record and showcase this new aircraft. So people can go back to it, refer to it, have a quick look at the statistics on the aircraft, see how I fly it, which they may not think is the right way, but just generally get a feel for what they're heading for if they're working through what is a fairly onerous chain of combat missions. Some of those grinds are really long, even though you've got plenty of time to do them. And of course there's the real kick in the teeth at the end, Golubev medal, which is going to be very hard for you if you haven't got one of the tier 8s that has tier 8s, 9s or 10s that have air-to-air rockets. And the Golubev is a pretty nasty medal to get anyway, because it's not only do you have to achieve the condition of shooting down 3 aircraft in a single sortie with your rockets, which can be quite tricky, you also have to win the battle. And I actually did that this morning. So yeah, my team is pretty weak here. And as I say, if you have a weak team, or a team that's concentrating on something other than winning, then this aircraft is not a carrier plane. It will not carry a team through a battle. It's a support aircraft, pure and simple. There, got the bomb. See if we can get one more drop in before the game ends. But you can see that the ADA actually respected the guns and weaved away. And if you're careful with your aim, you can do something with the guns. I actually might get this one here. Yeah, there you go. I've actually managed to capture the sector, so it's not entirely helpless. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Tier 6 battle and I finished top in a Stuka. I think that tells you everything you need to know about that team. So, if you're watching and you haven't yet subscribed to this YouTube channel, do have a look at my offline content, and if you like what you see, please consider subscribing. Subscribing is free on YouTube, of course, doesn't cost you anything. I would appreciate the support, and I'm just 19 away from the magical 1,000 subscribers, so it would be nice to get over that figure. So if you'd like to indulge me, I'd be most appreciative. Okay. Right, well, I've already explained everything I wanted to explain about the Stuka. I think it's just a question of now flying it through a few battles so you can get a feel for it. Let's hope I don't crash it. Of course, because I've lost the sight in my right eye, a lot of it, my depth perception isn't very good, so sometimes I don't notice the ground's closer than it is. Hello, Pete. Pays you to read. And the good thing about doing this YouTube stream is that my thoughts about the aircraft, which I've presented at the start of this stream, will be a matter of record, and anybody can just click on it and go back and refer on it, rewind it, and look at the bits that they want to look at. They don't necessarily need to look at these battles. Okay, so mining plants. Tier 6 battle. With luck, I'll be able to demonstrate that I can take out a mining plant, power plant. However, that will depend on 2 bombers. Chances are I won't get to bomb the mining plant's power plant, so I'm going to keep a careful eye out for what's going on. And I may drop the bomb on something smaller. But right now, I'm comfortably beating the bomber into this sector, so I haven't tried attacking this from this angle. Let's give it a go. Let's see just how careful you have to be. Maybe there's an angle which doesn't work. Not sure about that. I am sure now, though. But, again, here's the problem. I'm going to shoot out the guns, because that will help my bomber. I may have actually made that unintentionally a bit difficult for him, but taking out... Oh dear, what's that? Oh, well played, heavy. Somebody's doing what I do. I'm going to turn into him to try and make it difficult. Ooh. Well, he won't have liked that. Oh, their Spitfire came across as well. Okay, so the enemy team is capable and knowledgeable. Not only has their heavy come over to this plant, which is something I would often do as the top tier heavy, so did their Spitfire. And that gives me a problem. Knowing that they're there, if I go back there, I'll basically just be helping them to take the plant. Now, you'd like to think that our players were equally knowledgeable. We have an ME410, so surely he's gone to their plant. No, but he has gone to the next best place. It's gone there. We do actually have 2 bombers there. Yeah, they're going to take both plants. I'm going to try and take the airfield, and then I'm going to try and work at the plant. But this is another illustration of this aircraft's limitations. It is a support plane. And if the enemy is knowledgeable and counters you, there isn't a great deal you can do.
We've taken over the forward airfield. Nice work.
So I'm going to signal my intention to attack there. I have no doubt my team will ignore that entirely and not support me. Or maybe I'll get a multi-role come along with me. Ask for support as well. So we now Tier 6 power plant, I can still take out the special object. Well, I actually knew that anyway, but now you do as well. Keep yourself low, son. I don't want you to be shot down by the AA. Yeah, so they took our plant, and that's no surprise because our team simply fed themselves over there. And none of our team had the wit to go over there and stop them. It's one of my favourite tricks, to be fair. So I can't really complain that somebody else has got the same ideas as me.
The enemy has captured the command center. Don't let them gain a foothold.
Okay, let's look to see if there's anything else. We'll prep this, we'll try and set this bit on fire and get it out of the way. That might be my third target here, if I'm allowed to do that. And you saw no fire. 15 seconds to the bomb. And obviously this would be painful if I was actually waiting 60 seconds, which is the base reload speed. Still no fire. Let's try and take this out. Curious to see what happens when I drop it. Worked. And so what we'll do is we'll dump the aircraft. And we'll try and go there. On the assumption that the enemy has now left it because they've done all their work there. So what's my attitude towards purchasing certificates? I know if you've got them, by all means use them. Step over those legs which are difficult, and there are plenty which are just very tediously long. The Golubev is tricky for sure, and if you haven't got the air-to-air rocket aircraft, the Golubev is extremely difficult. Not impossible, but I certainly would struggle. I'm not sure I would recommend you purchase certificates to get this plane. I think you can live quite happily without it. Yes, the bomb is hilarious, but that's about all this aircraft does. And although it does it extremely well, especially given that I've beefed up its capacity to do it, you are really a bystander for most of the game after you've dropped your bomb. One thing's for sure though, I am going to put gas-operated action on this aircraft. No, nobody defended that plant. Why am I not surprised? Patience, 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 patience. Didn't get them. Ah. Game says no. So you should now beginning to see that if your team isn't up to snuff, you aren't going to change the outcome of a battle with this plane. Hello Marcellus, how are you? Okay, so let's hope we get some maps with different objects. It would be nice to get something with a military base, and I can talk about how carefully you have to place the bomb. I like the XP-44, and if you wanted me to say, would I prefer to fly this or the XP-44, it's the XP-44. It's as simple as that. Look, this is a free plane. If you get it, well, it's a free plane if you don't use certificates to get it. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. But is it a good plane? No. Is it one you desperately need in your hangar? No. Is it one that if you get it, can be a bit of fun? Yes. Yep, XP-44s. Very decent aircraft. Surprisingly strong is how I'd put it.
You are approaching the area of combat operations.
Okay.
Be ready.
Now, again, it will depend. We've got a bomber, so I may not be able to bomb this object. In fact, we've got two bombers. But if I can, I'll point out the pitfalls, particularly of trying to bomb this special object. I don't think any of the other special objects present a problem. The one at the military base, does. You've got to be quite careful. And the reason for that is that the buildings tend to shadow one another. So you can end up with the situation that you fail to destroy the 2 tents at one side of the object, or one of the storage units at the other side of the object. So the 2 tents are just there, you can't see them very well, but they're in front of those 2 storage units. You can fail to destroy those. This is why I'm actually going in at this angle. Or you can fail to destroy the storage unit at the end. So I'm going to try and squeeze this bomb into this gap here. Oh. And in fact I've missed 2 storage units. That's the bad side to attack that bomb. If you come in from this angle initially and get into the gap, you can actually destroy the entirety of this object, no bother at all. So beware, you can't just blithely drop this bomb and expect it to destroy a target. It generally will, but particularly that target, if you get it, if you approach it from the wrong side, as I just did on purpose, then you won't get the effect that you're looking for. So bear that in mind. Even though it's a tremendous bomb, there are ways and means about going about dropping that bomb. You may find that there are other little oddities. I haven't had problems on any of the other special objects, but just be aware that it could be the case. Now, it's really awkward that we haven't got this fact. I'm going to take the long route round, and I may actually get shot down anyway because I've been targeted. Yeah, I'm going to lose my aircraft. This doesn't matter. I'm outside of the sector. And in fact it's a benefit because I now get a fresh aircraft and I'm here and I can get there.
The enemy is launching rockets at us from the military base. Take action.
Now, again, the orientation of the special object, if it's still intact, is bad from this side. So we may need to actually amend our attack posture and take a little longer to try and drop the bomb. That's assuming the special object is up, of course.
A large enemy force is attacking the military
It is.
base. Proceed with
It's also partially damaged. I think one of the big build... Okay, that makes it easier. I can actually go in from this side, which I wouldn't have been able to do had the main building been up.
We have taken over our military base. Show them who's boss.
Yeah, again, I've got another team that's ineffective, so that's the 3rd one in a row. We should be fine here, though. I'm going to drop it a little bit nearer those storage units. And there we go. However, once again, I'm going to dump the aircraft, this time spawn here, and try and get back there. Is it better than the HS-129B or the Junkers 87G? I think it's more fun. I'm not sure I'd go as far as to say it's better. I think this bomb is hilarious. I really do. But I'm not sure it's actually a better ground attacker than either of those two, but I find those two as dull as ditch water to play, whereas this I'm actually quite enjoying. I could shoot those tents. And this time I am going to try and circle round and get a good angle on the special object. So I was just unable to take I'm going to try and get it in just there. And this time I got it. That just illustrates the importance of getting the right attack vector. As you can see, these guns are not great taking out ground targets. And well played to the heavy. He spotted what's going on. He's been allowed to shoot me down He's now been shot down. To be fair, I wasn't the major threat there, not at that very moment, because I've taken out the special object, and there's not another special object I can take out with a big bomb. So, to be fair, I'm not actually sure that was really the smartest thing for him to do. Still, he shot me down, he's delayed the capture of this sector, or indeed prevented it, so you can't really argue with that. So I've got very limited options here, 20-point targets basically, and then maybe some 10s. Very weak team again, third weak team in a row actually. I've been a bit unlucky. But I guess that actually teaches, illustrates something that I have been saying about this aircraft, and that is that it's a weak plane. It won't carry battles for you. Given a team that knows what it's doing, it can play a good supporting role, but that is it. You will not carry in this plane. No, I've no need to go head on the ground attacker. What I'm going to do is try and get the bomb in and then maybe go for the ground attacker. Is there something... if I shoot these tents out, we could actually capture this. Unfortunately, something has died here. In fact, more than one thing has died. Shame. That's going to be the end of my game. It's one of those games where wherever you go, the enemy outnumbers you. So we're losing. So my fighters decide to defend. It's that kind of illogical decision that costs games. I have observed, I think since the CIS players came onto the server, an awful lot of them seem to be extremely tactically naive. Now, to be fair, a lot of them are probably pursuing goals for missions to get this aircraft, so they're not necessarily playing to win. But the standard of play, I've noticed, has gone down quite considerably since the CIS players came across. And then, irritatingly, up at top tiers, they all seem to be wedded to the high hit point aircraft and fly around in bombers and ground attackers for the most part. But that's a different topic for another day. Yeah, it's easier to hit accurately with bombers if you fly them anywhere near competently, much as I would agree. The ground attackers are, as a class, almost entirely throughout the game have been left behind by the bombers, particularly the Russian ones at low to mid tiers, I would suggest. If you play the German ones properly, then it's even true of the German ones as well. And then we all know what it's like at the high tiers. The B-29C just flattens everything all the time. And the EF-131 is a pestilential aircraft that needs a serious nerf. And ground attackers, if they get a chance to do well, it's because there are heavy fighters flying around harassing the bombers, and the ground attackers are allowed to go around and do their business. So, Random A, are there any GAs below Tier 7 capable of carrying a game? Probably not, I would suggest, and certainly not amongst the Tier 5s. And not even the Tier 6s either. The Russian ones generally are too slow. The German ones don't really start to have decent ordnance and gun combinations until tier 7. So the reason I'm stressing that this is not a carry plane is because you may think that with a tier 8 bomb you've got an opportunity to do something unusual. Well, you have, but it's not unusual enough that it will win you a game. It's just, wow, look at that. I took out the entirety of a power plant at a mining plant with a tier 5 aircraft. And although the ordnance on the Russians is better, it takes you a bit longer to do that because you've actually got to do multiple passes very frequently, or use a lot of your ordnance and then end up not being able to capture the sector whilst you reload. So it is a little bit of fun. It's a free aircraft, it's a birthday plane, and I certainly like it a lot better than last year's offering, the, what was it, the I-153P-DM4. That was a horrible little thing, and I've not played it since it came out. This one, I could see me dropping into it every now and then for a laugh. I won't play it extensively, that's for sure. There are far better aircraft to choose if you want to win a game. I mean, Marcellus has mentioned the XP-44, for instance, then the bombers as well, the Russian bombers. And I don't object to the low and mid-tier bombers. They're not overpowered in the way that the horrible EF-131 is, and the B-29C, so that's okay. You wouldn't be choosing this to go and win a game, but just for the sheer mirth of dropping a big bomb and watching targets evaporate underneath you, occasionally that may very well appeal to you. Just to reiterate, this emblem doesn't give you anything special. Let's just go into the paint shop, actually. I didn't do that. So the emblem gives you 2% crew experience. That's perfectly standard, unfortunately. You would be better off, if you have it, putting on the 7th, not 9th, birthday emblem from Wargaming, which is this one. Because that gives you 5% aircraft experience, of course. Ooh, I've just realised there's something I haven't done. My bad. I've now got 30,000 experience I'm going to have to convert using gold. Oh, there's a discount on this week. Okay, well that allows me to show you something. I'll come back to that in a second. You'd be better off putting on that emblem there, but it gives you 5% crew experience. When you have ticked Accelerate Crew Training, which becomes available when you have researched everything on the aircraft, then the aircraft experience goes to crew training. If you don't do that, it then starts building up on the aircraft, and I'll show you where you can see that. There you go, just there. And you cannot do anything with that unless you pay gold, which I'm about to do, and convert it into free experience. Then you can use the free experience for whatever you like. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to do that because I've forgotten to check crew experience this morning. What a shame. I always do that. Not unusual. As far as the rest of the paint job is concerned, nose, well, neither here nor there. Go away. 5% crew experience. That was buffed about, I don't know, several months ago. It used to be 3. Now it's 5 across the board. That's standard, so no need to change that. Camouflage. That's interesting. I actually hadn't realised there were several different camouflages for this. That looks like the camouflages from the standard G have carried across. That is interesting. So what does this one do? 5% aircraft experience. Not very exciting. Let's ignore those for the moment. I'd probably drop this in favour of the normal camouflage. And it's on discount this week. And I always buy the normal camouflages anyway. So I'm going to spend the 300 gold and actually get hold of those camouflages so I can apply them if I want. And the reason for doing that is because it gives you tolerance to AA, damage from AA guns, damage from rear gunners. That's not really going to be that important to you. Well, actually, if you're going to hunt GAAs, it would be important. So actually, that is worth having. And then 20% concealment means that you'll be detected a little bit less quickly. Probably not that significant, but there you go. What does this one do? 20% crew experience. That, and it's a Romanian camouflage, is worth having. I would put that on like a shot if you want to train your crew. This one, this looks like it's Slovakian, I think. Also 20% crew experience. And this one, 5% aircraft experience. Okay. Are those from the Junkers G by any chance? That is interesting. Yes, they are. They've carried them across. I'm not sure they meant to do that, but there you go. They have. So you may have some special camouflages that you can pick and choose from. However, what I'm going to do is, for the purposes of this stream, I'm going to go back to the new the camouflage that comes with the plane, but I am going to leave that emblem on. Right, so if you're a silly Billy like me, and you have researched everything on an aircraft, and you have forgotten to tick Accelerate Crew Training, which I've only just done, you will amass free experience. You will amass combat experience on this plane, which does you no good at all until you do something like this. And this is the time to do it. This is normally a rate of 25 to 1 gold piece. 35 is a discount weekend, and we're going to spend 868 gold and convert now. There we go. You now have something that you can use, the free experience. Okay. I actually like the FW189C more, but yeah, you need to be top tier. And the LB show is a solid choice as well. This Stuka is not going to change anybody's life in the game. But as a birthday present, as I say, I actually prefer it to last year's birthday present. I can't remember what was the present the year before. I prefer this to the Skewer that came out recently as well, to be truthful. Although that's not really a fair comparison because that was a Tier 3 aircraft.
You are approaching the area of combat operations. Be ready.
Okay, unfortunately we're back to the map that I can't really do anything interesting on because it's just garrisons and airfields. We know that I can knock over the control tower at the airfield. That said, given the weakness of the guns, it's probably a better idea to go to the airfield because I can get more done there. I can use the bomb on the control tower potentially, and then I can shoot down some of the soft targets with the guns. So that's where we're going to go.
Show me what you can do, pilots. Let's roll.
I do think that's a pretty good camouflage. I mean, if you're interested in the aesthetics of how your planes look, I think this is quite nice. That appeals to me. It's just that for practical purposes, I think the standard camouflages, the seasonal ones, are probably better for you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, have you got any questions about this aircraft that you'd like to ask me? You can either ask them now, whilst I'm streaming, or pop them in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer them. But I think I've shown pretty much that this is a one-trick pony. It is a big trick, it's a funny trick, but it is just one trick. What's the other benefit of being here is that, well, unless I get harassed by those enemy aircraft, I'll be able to pick up repairs. Now, where's my team going? This is not a plane to take into a sector on your own. I would much rather go to this sector, but my team has streamed into the middle, so that's where I must go. And now I don't know what the team's going to do because we didn't win that sector. Are they going to stay there? Are they going to leave? I'm now going to go and support the bomber at that garrison, which originally I would have preferred to go. But the danger here is I'm going to end up without any support. And we've got two heavies in the game, and neither of them have spotted that their bomber is over here. This is what I mean about the tactical play not being of the highest order. You can't rely on your planes to do the things that, I don't know about you, but seem fairly obvious to me. Why would you leave those two bombers completely free when you are heavies? We've actually got three heavies, have we? We've got one that's actually bounced out of the game, so that doesn't matter. Finish that off later. Just have to be patient with this plane. Plane's guns, that is. They're not strong, so you just have to do things at a slower pace. And as I say, if you had the tank buster guns here, that would be a completely different story, and I have ended up here, of course, and I'm being attacked by the ADAs, but we're going to take this target down, and then we're going to see if we can shoot an ADA. And if we can't, then we'll go for the tent target. And I promise you, you do occasionally win in this aircraft. It doesn't look like I'm going to get a win on stream, unfortunately. I've had uniformly poor teams. Trying to... Oh, I have managed to make him break off. I don't really know what he was trying to do there. But I'm not going to be allowed to do much more because there's a heavy coming in. You see, their heavy is paying attention. There is a ground attacker looking like they're about to take a sector. Our heavy's completely clueless and let the bombers just do their thing. I'm kind of stuck here. I have to go back to that same sector, but the problem is I'm not getting any support. I know what's going to happen, but I don't really have any good options. So the heavy's got bored over there, so he's now left, so I might be able to do something again. I'll have the bomb by the time I get there. The problem is this, maybe the sheds have regenerated. One of them has actually, so that's okay. The trouble is we've gone back to virtually the start of the capture, as the heavy cleared everybody out. What I'm hoping for is that I can actually shoot down one of the air defence aircraft. And you see the heavy actually respected my guns there. Let's see if we can get these tents out. Okay. Well, we managed to capture that sector. It's hard work though. Might take the airfield. I'm not confident about it. I think the heavy's going to sort out our heavy. Oh, that's unfortunate. How much health is he on? Oh, he looks badly damaged. I may have a chance here.
We cannot support you any longer. The storm is too heavy. Do you copy? Over.
Oh, wow. That is very lucky. Yeah, as I thought, we did take that airfield. The heavy cleared everything out. Not sure I got that. I know I'll get this. Hey. Oh, thanks for damaging my engine just before you died. That's really helpful. Okay, so that's it. It's going fine. I'm actually quite enjoying this aircraft because the bomb is funny. I'm never going to play it a lot, but it is something very different to Tier 5 for a ground attacker, and this bomb is a Tier 8 bomb. It is hilarious, and as I've demonstrated on stream, you can take out special objects. You need to be a little bit careful at the military base. You need to be in the right attack posture to get that one out, but everything else is fine and easy. The D-5 Stuka, I am informed reliably, did not have a siren, Yared, and it doesn't have a siren in this game. And you don't dive bomb in this either. It doesn't have the altitude performance. Okay, I was going to do that. So now I'll get repairs. And it does look like we're actually going to get a win. And actually I've been fairly effective. 3 chevrons. So, it's not useless, but it's not a carry plane. And for that I'm pleased it's not an overpowered piece of order.
Almost all enemy aircraft are destroyed.
And despite my heavies not playing ideally,
Achieved.
we have achieved a victory.
Great job today. We'll be waiting for you back
It is
on
possible, ladies and gentlemen. This aircraft is not cursed. Okay. Well, that's an hour and a quarter's worth of the Stuka, and what I've done is I've presented to you the statistics of the aircraft, I've shown you the effect of my build, I've played a few games in it so you can see what it can do, you can see what its limitations are. Its limitations, the forward-firing weapons aren't good at ground targets, the aircraft is slow, the altitude performance is poor, the manoeuvrability is better than the GAAs that you're likely to be fighting, so you have got perhaps a chance of knocking those down over a contested sector, which means you may want to set up the guns with a gun sight and better DPS, so use a gas-operated action rather than the equipment that increases the burst length, which I have on at the moment. Use it as a crew trainer. It's all about the bomb. You need to do everything you can to do 2 things for the bomb. You need to reduce that reload time from 60 seconds base. You need to increase the power of that bomb. Possibly not so urgently, but I think it's valuable to do so, from 8,000 base to, as you can see, it says 9,680 here. How do you do that? You use strengthened hardpoints when this aircraft is fully specialised and you get it fully calibrated as it is there. You haven't got these 2 slots when the aircraft is stock, but when you have got those slots, you put on the improved fragmentation for more damage and try and use a pilot that has demolition expert. And that's the first skill I would pick. Although if you're using this as a crew trainer, then you may not you won't be in a position of having to pick skills. You should have these on your great GAAs anyway, and probably some of your heavies too. And that I think will do. You do get other things from the grind, of course, Clausewitz, but only you can judge whether the bonuses that you get for completing each section are worth it. If you're pressed for time and tempted to buy certificates to get this aircraft, I don't think you need this airplane. Yes, it's quite fun to get, and if you can get it for free, I think it's amusing. I wouldn't spend a lot of money to get it. That would be my suggestion. I mean, obviously, you're all responsible people. You know what to do with your money. But you can live without this aircraft. It's not a must-have by any manner of means. However, it is something different to Tier 5. That is a Tier 8 bomb, and that is the D-5 Stuka, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to call it there. So, this being a YouTube stream will now be saved into my live streams. You can revisit it, see the statistics of the aircraft, see how it performs in battle, see the training flight where I demonstrated that a power plant at a mining plant is very easily destroyed in one pass by that bomb. But I appreciate also that you need to get the reload time down as quickly as possible and perhaps improve the power of the bomb as well. I've suggested to you that it's not a must-have aircraft, but if you do manage to get it for free, I think you'll have some fun in it, and in the end, that's all that you're looking for, isn't it? Isn't it? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for taking time out of your busy day to watch me play a bit of World of Warplanes. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon. But until the next time, this is the Noble Q signing out. Bye-bye, everyone.